So, the Sacramento Kings have been a pretty interesting and confusing team this season, and I have quite a few thoughts about them, and I think they're just one of the most intriguing teams in the league, both right now and where they go in the future. So, they are currently 12 and 11, so they have a winning record, and they are 8th in the West, and most impressively, they are 7 and 1 in their last 8 games, so they're on a bit of a winning streak, and they're managing to get wins behind De'Aaron Fox and a few other players. They are currently 7th in offense, so they're a good offensive team, but they are last 30th in defense, so that is certainly troubling, and not many teams with the worst defense go very far. And then, maybe even more troubling, they are 14th in pace, so about average in that category when they have one of the fastest players in the league and a team that seemingly would thrive in transition. And they're 24th in net rating, so maybe they're getting a little bit lucky with a few of these wins, and their record is a bit better than they are. So if we go through the team, mainly just their key players, their point guard is De'Aaron Fox, their best player. On the season, he's averaging 23 points and 6.5 assists on good efficiency. But in this winning streak, he's really stepped up. He won the Western Conference Player of the Week, so he's been the best player in the West in the past 7 days, and that is certainly very impressive, especially for a younger player like Fox is. He's certainly taken the next step, it looks like, this season. His strengths are obviously he's great in transition, finishing at the rim, playmaking, that sort of thing. And then the jump shot has been up and down throughout his career, but shooting about 36% from three this season. So that's definitely a promising sign, and he's been great recently. So certainly their point guard for right now and the foreseeable future. And at shooting guard, they have Buddy Hield, who's averaging 16 points a game. He's a great shooter. That's obviously the main thing with him. Always near the top of the league in both 3-point percentage and attempts. But maybe a bit concerning is that he's 28 years old and he's had a couple of rifts with the coach, Luke Walton. And, you question whether he's part of their long-term future, both due to his age and, his fit with the team isn't bad, but it isn't great. And then at small forward, they have a player who's quietly having a great season, Harrison Barnes, maybe one of the most underrated role players in the league. He is averaging 17 points, 6.5 boards, and 3.5 assists, and on great efficiency. And he is a good defender and a really good role player. A bit underappreciated due to his underperformance in the 2016 finals, and that he's not a very smooth player or a player that you're very excited to watch, but he's been getting it done this season, and he's very underappreciated. He's the type of guy who can be a 3-and-D guy, but at the end of the clock, if you need someone to run an emergency pick and roll, he can do that. If you need someone to post up on a smaller player, he can also do that. So he can do a little bit offensively for the Kings, and he's definitely been very good this season, averaging 17 points. And then at power forward, they have Marvin Bagley, who's been less good this season, averaging 12 points and 7.5 rebounds. And, every time you talk about Bagley, it's impossible to ignore the fact that they took him over Luka Doncic. Obviously, I don't want to get too far into that, but man, that is rough. That is rough. But Bagley has not been good this season, not helping that. He's like, the offensive stats aren't great, and coming out of college, he was an offensive player, and then he's also not a good defender, and that's very problematic. He's sort of stuck in between positions, because on offense you'd like him to be a center, but on defense he just can't protect the rim or really do anything defensively. He's also getting exposed defensively at the power forward by quicker players, so it's a tough scene there. But maybe he has struggled with a lot of injuries throughout his career, so maybe he can turn it around, but it's not looking good so far. And at center, they have Holmes. He's been good this season, averaging 13 points, 8 boards, 2 blocks, good efficiency offensively. He's a solid offensive player. He has that push shot, one of the most unique shots in the league, and he's been good for them offensively, but defensively, he's not a very impactful center, so that might be a problem for the Kings moving forwards. And whether he's the center of the future, I'm not too sure. And then off the bench, they have role players like Corey Joseph, Glenn Robinson, Nemanja Bjelica, and Hassan Whiteside, but I'm not going to focus too much on them. I want to talk about Tyrese Halliburton, the rookie, my favorite rookie in the league right now. Oh man, he's been great. So Halliburton tangent coming up. So he's been very, very good this season, averaging 29 minutes a game, and in those minutes, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 5.5 assists to go along with 1.2 steals. And very, very efficiently, he's doing this. 44% from 3. His 3-point shot is a bit unorthodox, but it goes in almost all the time. And he's able to get it off, so the unorthodox form doesn't really matter that much. He's also a great playmaker, already getting 5.5 assists a game when he doesn't always have the ball, and sharing it with players like Fox and Barnes. And that's also a very impressive part of his game. He's also a very good defender already, at such a young age. He's already a great defender, 1.2 steals a game, and just good perimeter defense. And he's such a smart player too. He's always making the right plays and knows where to be, both offensively and defensively. Man, he's a great player, and definitely a player for the future, who is going to be with the Kings for a long time if they don't mess it up. So he's maybe the best rookie in the NBA, him or Ball, and he's been playing great so far this season and has been even better recently. So if we talk about this team in general, the first thing is that Halliburton and Fox are great, and Halliburton hasn't been starting, but they need to get him into the starting lineup. He is playing 30 minutes per game, but he could easily take the spot of either Buddy Hield or Marvin Bagley if they want to go smaller in. They would definitely be better that way, both offensively and defensively, because Halliburton's been great. And Fox has also been great, winning West Player of the Week. He's been very good recently. We'll see if he makes the All-Star game. Probably yes, if the Kings continue to be above 500 and he continues on his current pace. But they need to improve the defense. I mean, you're not going to be a good team or a very good team if your defense is 30th in the league. That's just a problem. They need to get it up to, even 25th would be an upgrade, and that's a big problem, obviously. I think a lot of it is they have some decent defenders, like Halliburton and Fox and Barnes are all good defensively, but I would say in the front court, Marvin Bagley and Rashad Holmes is really where they're losing a lot of those points, just paint protection and that type of thing, because rim defense is still the most important type of defense in the NBA, and they don't have very good rim defense. So what they can do about that, it's a bit unclear. They just need some improvement from Bagley especially, and some of their other players. But they could also make a trade, and one big trade, or maybe minor, player is Nemanja Bjelica. He hasn't been playing too much this season, just chilling out on the bench, and he's almost certainly going to get traded, and he could help a team with his shooting and see what the Kings can get back there. But then there's the two bigger players, Buddy Hield and Marvin Bagley. Obviously Hield has had rifts with the coach and has been unhappy, so maybe there's a trade there. And then with Bagley, there's this thing where his dad requested a trade, or wanted him to get traded. He said it on Twitter, and I don't know really what's going on there, but Bagley hasn't been great for the Kings, and change of scenery might be best for both sides, so maybe they could make a trade. Fine. Some more issues is they need to be higher in pace than 14th. De'Aaron Fox is maybe the fastest player in the league. Hield is great at shooting threes and would definitely benefit from the open looks that running in transition would get them. And then Bagley is also pretty athletic and could be effective in the open court. So they need to run more and be higher in pace than 14th. And, that's a big issue with Luke Walton, who is their coach, who I don't feel is a great coach. So maybe that's also an issue. And then just overall, maybe they've been a tad bit lucky this season. They're obviously 24th in net rating. That's not great. Their expected win-loss is much lower than their actual record. I think it's like 8-15. So, but you could look on the other side is that they're able to close out games and win close games. A lot of their wins have been by 1 or 2 or 3 points. So that's a good sign. And Halliburton has been great in all those fourth quarters. So if we look to the future, I doubt they'll make the playoffs this year just because I feel like they've been a bit lucky and they're 30th in defense and all those reasons. So I doubt they'll make the playoffs, and also due to their issues like their defense, their pace, their coaching, Bagley healed, and they've been a bit lucky. So I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but they definitely have some parts for the future, mainly Halliburton and Fox. They have great potential for the future. So with the Kings, I don't know. They've been a bit lucky. They have some issues, but I really like Halliburton and Fox. So that's the end of this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.